and welcome to my very awkward intro. My name is Susan/Bambi, and this is Bambi's Rambles. Today is the start of a new series on my channel. Who's pumped? I'm pumped. I'm fucking nervous, but I'm pumped. Alright? It's going to be called Mental Health and Makeup. Every few days, whenever I decide to post, we all know that Susan is not about the consistency because my mental health is not consistent. So, got to keep the same energy. Every time I post a video with this title, it will be on a different topic. Today's topic will be projection. We're discussing projection. Now, disclaimers here, my friends. I am not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or trained in any field whatsoever. But I am very, very passionate about mental health due to my own struggles and struggles of my family. I'm a big advocate for anyone experiencing any mental health concerns or issues to go see a doctor and to remove yourself from judgment. And remember that you are worthy and the people around you are worthy of you having the best care possible. So if anything in these videos become triggering, please exit out. I will not be offended. If anything in this video opens your mind to anything, please read the articles I list below and go see a mental health professional in any aspect possible. Do further research, whatever you need to do. So I'm here to help. I'm here to share what I know from personal experience. So anyway, shut up, Susan. Let's fucking go. All right, so today's topic is projection. But we all know that Susan cannot multitask. So let's just do my eyeballs while I chit-chat. How is everyone today? Is everyone good? I'm glad. And if you're not good, let me tell you something. That is good too. Not good in the way that you should feel great, that you feel like shit, but acknowledge how you're feeling. Do not fight those emotions. Do not fight those feelings, because then it will last longer and longer. Okay, acknowledge some self-care, acknowledge some help when need be. Today's topic is projection. So we're going to do the what, why, who, and how to fix it. When I say fix it, grain of salt, my friends. What I mean by fix it is seeking treatment and understanding it better without judgment upon yourself or judgment upon the person that you are experiencing projection from. Some parts might sound a bit more aggressive than others, but projection is a very common thing that people go through. Okay, so let's start off with the eyeballs. Now, if I use palettes that people have been cancelled for, it is because I'm a large consumer of makeup and I've decided to not purchase anything further until I finish what I have. Be a responsible consumer, my friends. So, projection refers to unconsciously taking unwanted emotions or traits that you don't like about yourself and attributing them to someone else, projecting them onto someone else, taking them out on somebody else. So that is the basic terminology, meaning, whatever word you want to use, of projection. Projection is something that I have experienced in multiple ways. I have been known to project onto others, and I have been known to have projection placed on me. So it's not the most unheard of thing in the entire world. It does happen. It is a regular occurrence for a lot of people. Some people might not even realize that they are projecting, though. Not an excuse, but it's an explanation. I will say that time and time again. It is never an excuse, just an explanation. So you'll find that with projection, sometimes you'll be in a conversation with somebody where you feel as though their reaction to something that you've said is like misproportionate. And you have to realize that sometimes people will try and make you feel a certain way or make you feel crazy through their projections. Now, this isn't something that I'm saying gaslighting or anything like that. That'll be another topic for another day. But projection is something where some people do feel that. But if you feel within your gut and truly examine what you're feeling due to that conversation or that interaction with somebody, then that is something that you have to look further into, whether you're projecting or they're projecting. But yeah. Now, another question is, why do we do it? Okay, so why do we project onto others? I need to do my eyebrows so badly. So badly. Now, I use a jelly primer, the jelly pack that I showed in my other video. Fucking guru, my ass. I use a jelly pack on my brows because I used to be like all about the Insta brows, but I'm not anymore. I find them far too structured. I find makeup can be far too structured. My personal preference is to just have fun and relax with makeup. I think natural brows should be embraced. We've all been victims of over tweezing and over plucking and over waxing, and you know, let's just enjoy the natural brows that we have, because even if you don't like them, there's someone out there being like, oh my god, look at her brows, they're like fabulous. Anyway, okay, all right, you know, this might seem quite blasé or quite redundant information that a lot of people might know. But in saying that, it's always good to hear it again. It might be a friendly reminder that you need, or someone in your life might need. But yeah, projecting something you don't like about yourself onto someone else protects you from having to acknowledge parts of yourself that you don't like. So, you know, it's a defense mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. It's a, you know, you might have low self-esteem. You might feel as though, you know, you're not the coolest person at the dinner table, you know, and you project all that stuff because you're like, oh, well, I'm not the problem, you're the problem. So, and identifying things you don't like in yourself and portraying them onto other people, which sometimes might actually be true. There might be things about yourself that you don't like, but you won't acknowledge that. But you'll see that in somebody else and be like, oh my God, you're a horrible human being. But it's actually because it's very triggering to you, because you are the same way. Or you might project when it comes to jealousy. Any sort of jealousy or misunderstanding or anything like that can also be a reason why we project. So I'm using, look at this smashed mirror, my friends. My goodness, but I'm using the Face Shaping Palette Clay Play Face Shaping Palette. I love this palette. If I go anywhere, which we all know I don't, but if I was to go somewhere, I would take this and literally nothing else. A BB cream or a sunscreen, and that is it. And my toothbrush, but we're not talking about toothbrushes, are we, Susan? Anyhoozle. So there have been times in my life where I have projected onto others because there was a time when I did not want to acknowledge any of my mental health issues. And I wanted to blame absolutely everybody else except for myself, because that made me feel like, okay, I can keep ignoring this. Subconsciously, for the most part, I can keep ignoring this. I can keep ignoring how this is making me feel. I can distance myself from the world and blame those around me. It is very common. And don't be so hard on yourself if you do this, please. Don't be so hard on yourself, because when you're hard on yourself about these sorts of things, you start to go through a vicious cycle. So it becomes low self-esteem, defense mechanisms, that sort of stuff. Then we go to projecting. Then if we start we start getting down on ourselves, that leads to more what? Self-esteem issues, all that sorts of stuff. You start to dig this little hole for yourself, and that there becomes more projection, more projection. So if you ever feel like you are doing this, don't be so hard on yourself. Just kind of be proud of yourself that you're even acknowledging the fact that you even do it, because that there is the hardest fucking part, is acknowledging there is an issue. And then we move on to we move on to how to fix it and how to solve it without going down the road of everything is a projection. So you have to find your balance, and that's where medical and mental health professionals can help you and start to dig deeper down into where it comes from, you know, and where it started and why it started and things like that. So this is just me explaining the first chapter of it, because I will not go further into anything that a mental health professional, medical health professional will help you with. Does that make any sense? Probably. I hope so. It fucking does it. What a redundant video, Susan. Ugh. Okay. I know I have to keep yakking on, but I also have to do my makeup. Yeah, so projection is a hard one. And I feel like with this series, I kind of want to just, because a lot of the things that I've ever learned has been from just general conversation with people, and something clicks in me, and that's when I move further and further into getting treatment and getting a better understanding in a more clinical sense about what I have been going through or what I have been doing. Now, there's a whole bunch of ways that we can look at different multitask, Susan. We can look at this is a nice transition shade. But I just want to do a smoky eye today. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. I really want to use my Ofra. I have an Ofra palette that I really, really, really love, and it's just bright colors, like every bright color under the sun, and it's a huge palette, and I think it's gorgeous. So I want to use that next time. I want to do like a really hot pink look, like my whole face hot pink, you know? Pink highlighter, pink lipstick, pink eyes. I just want to go a bit crazy. But today, because I am going to the supermarket, yes, I'm leaving the house. Who's proud? I'm proud. Everyone, yay! I will be going to the supermarket. I would prefer not to be stared at today. I don't want people projecting onto me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like there are friends. Where are all my brushes, friends? Lost all my brushes. Yeah, so examples of projection will be things along the lines of, why is that brush wet? That's not a thing of projection. That's a thing of, Susan shouldn't buy double-ended brushes. I think they're the worst things ever. But let's just get through this eye. Oh my God. Do not like at all. That brush is terrible. Examples of projection could be someone in your life, in a relationship, someone saying, you don't care about me, you're not there for me, and you don't do this, this, and this for me. Now, and you think to yourself, oh my God, I do this, this, and this, and this, and this for you, and you explain that to them, and they see things along the lines of, oh, do you want a medal for that? Like, do you want a round of applause for that? Because, are you just going to throw it in my face now? Like, that there is someone, basically, could go a few different ways, but in my experience, it's someone that hasn't necessarily asked for help, or hasn't necessarily had the confidence, self-esteem, self-whatever, to actually realize that they do have some issues with communication, and are not expressing that they do need your help and that they do need your help in a certain way. They're people that feel like they, you know, they'll be at dinner. Everyone's at dinner. Where are we going? We're going to McDonald's. We're going to McDonald's for dinner, right? We're going to McDonald's for dinner, and everyone's coming, and someone at the table is just talking, and someone will turn around and say, "This fly, man, you want some fucking eyeliner too? What do you want?" We'll say something along the lines of, "See, guys, thinking on your feet, my friends, thinking on your feet." We'll say something along the lines of, I should edit this part out. But are we going to edit this out, Susan? No. Or they'll say, or you, like someone will just yap, up, and someone will say something to get in the conversation, and that person will be like, "Oh, all you ever do is interrupt and talk." And it's like, I'm just joining in on the conversation. That is projection. If you've ever been in a conversation with somebody, and they'll literally make you feel like you're crazy because they're going off, and it's very, very difficult at times to have conversations like that with people, because you're like, what the hell do I say? What the hell do I do? You know, and their reaction is very disproportionate to... We're running low on the brushes here. I don't know where the rest of my brushes are, so we're just basically using this. Yeah, I'm so sorry that, like, as I said in my last video, I'm finding it very, very difficult to talk and do makeup at the same time, and I hope that that is something that I improve on. Been on YouTube for 5 weeks, my friends. I'm not going to be, you know, the most amazing things ever. But, and I feel as though I can't necessarily give 25,000 examples. I will list an article below that has all the examples. I can just go off, you know, I can just go off some of the examples that I personally experienced, you know, and it comes to a point where communication is so muddled. If someone is doing this to you, communication is so muddled because the person doing the projecting is so unable to communicate with you at times, because you can't voice anything to them because they just fly off the handle and this is you, this is your fault. You know, you always have to have it your, like, if you speak on, like, that you want something done at work, right? You want something done at work. And you're like, oh, I'm really passionate about this idea. I feel like it can push the company further. And someone in your office is like, oh, you always want it your way. Like, why is it always about what you want? What about the rest of us? That person is quite possibly projecting onto you the fact that, one, they didn't think of that idea, or two, that they're not going to receive credit for the idea. That, no shit, you're not going to get fucking credit for it. You didn't tell anyone about it. You know what I mean? But it's something like that. I am not a guru. So this is Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Foundation. I have my little... I'm so finicky with these things. Like, I just think they're the greatest thing ever, and I use them all the time. But yeah. So, ways to stop projection, right? Regardless of whether it is you or someone around you, okay? The first thing is, do not be hard on yourself. Do not be hard on yourself when it comes to projection and think that you are like the worst thing in the world and you're a horrible human being and people shouldn't be around you and all those sorts of things. Don't think that, please, because it's very, very common for people to project. It is so fucking common, actually, for people to project and to put things on you in a certain way, or push things off yourself in a certain way, because none of us want to feel questionable. None of us want to feel bad. None of us want to feel like we've done something wrong, or we've upset somebody, or we have misinterpreted a situation. No one wants to feel that way, but don't be hard on yourself. Do not be hard on the other person either, okay? Because again, it's not an excuse, it's purely an explanation. What a vibe is this? Seriously. And what you can do is, once you start to realize that you are doing this, and that is such a big step, by the way, like, I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, if it's like hitting bells off in your fucking head right now, you got a round of applause from Bambi. Like, I'm so proud. I'm so fucking proud, because no one's fucking perfect. And the fact that, you know, it's actually less likely for people that do tolerate negativity about themselves to project. It's less likely, less common, because they don't have the same sort of extreme discomfort. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't have the same, you know, for the most part, I think I'm getting very, very, very good at not projecting onto people, which is something that is not easy, and it's not cured overnight. But if you find yourself that you are projecting, do not be hard on yourself, and do not be hard on the people that project onto you. You might need to create distance if possible. Create distance if possible until you're ready to maybe have a conversation, or they're ready to have a conversation. But I'll say this, and I'll say this in every single episode of this: you cannot help someone that does not want to be helped. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You cannot. And I'm sorry, I know that is like, I even hate saying it myself, because I have a very hard time at turning away from someone that I feel needs help. But if they don't feel like they need help, you cannot help them, and you cannot break yourself in order to help somebody else. That's just, if that is the only lesson that you take from today's video, let it be that. Honestly, let it be that. I keep using the screen as my mirror, which is obviously very attractive. Now, the lighting in here, I'm sorry, my friends, is horrendous yet again, but this is what we do. Now, try and sit with yourself. Now, this is not easy, and I will not say that it's easy, but try and sit with yourself and pull down the layers. This is something that you can do with a therapist, or if you feel as though you're ready to do it on your own, or want to try and do it on your own. It'll take time, it'll take practice, it'll take more understanding, you know, and no one will ever understand you as much as you understand yourself, good, bad, indifferent, and you're welcome to keep all of that to yourself. But as long as you're learning behind the scenes, like, that's incredible. Like, as I said, be fucking happy that you're even acknowledging this. Like, this is annoying me. Can I take this off? Oh my God, Susan. Yeah, so you know, sometimes I get confused, like, in my own head, because I'm like stupid, and it's like projection, projector, projection, projector, like projector, like a TV projector. I got one from the post office for like $100, and it was the best $100 I ever spent. I went in the post office to pay a bill, and I came out fucking with a projector. Would you look at that? What a vibe. So ways to stop is to, you know, sit with yourself. Sit with yourself and try and understand why you do project onto other people, you know, and also try and understand, and it's better, like, easier said than done, but try and understand, if it's not you, if it's the other person, why they project onto you. You know, are they struggling with other things? Are they struggling with self-confidence? Are they struggling with the fact that, these are examples here, take it with a grain of salt, but did they grow up in a household where they weren't appreciated, where they weren't loved, where they were, you know, had to fight tooth and nail for any sort of love or affection or companionship through their family? That's a very, very common reason why that people project, you know. not feeling good enough in situations. And I'm not saying you should sit there and make your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner or whatever it is feel better about themselves so they don't project. But it's almost like sometimes, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but it's almost like sometimes if you want to build a better relationship with somebody, not that you should take the blame or wear the burden, but learn better ways for yourself to communicate. Now, that's what I've had to do in my relationship, my marriage. Now, no one has a perfect marriage, and I'm not going to sit up here and say I do, and I'm not going to sit up here and say I have a terrible marriage. But in my marriage, I had to learn better ways to communicate with my husband, you know, due to his traumas and things like that, and better ways to express my concerns in situations that we were going through as a couple, because I felt as though it wasn't my responsibility, but I wanted to do that in a way to make him feel as though, you know, he was safe with me, and he was safe, you know, in a way that he had maybe never felt safe before, so that, you know, examples when he was projecting or I was projecting, if we learned different coping mechanisms through our own mental health and our own trauma, but we also learn different ways to understand each other and understand our communication patterns and showing love patterns, that we could have an open dialogue and we could really talk about it and understand why I was being a certain way, he was being a certain way, map out some sort of plan. This could be any sort of way that you and your loved one or your friend or your whatever do it, but I'm just coming from my own personal experience with my husband. And it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. It's rarely that way with anything, is it? Do you know what I mean? Someone might view this video as the most stupidest thing they've ever heard in their life, whereas some people might see this video as something that really resonates with them and they really understand where I'm coming from, you know, and that's how you have to take it. You know, take what sits with you and leave what doesn't. And that's the same with self-help. You know, self-help groups, new age movements, things like that. Trust the gut. Trust the gut on what I'm saying, in the way that, okay, I get what Susan's saying here, or I get what Bambi's saying here, but this doesn't sit right with me. And that's fine. Like, I don't want this to be a one-size-fits-all video. I just want everyone to feel as though they've got a little bit more information out of this video, whether they can go do further research on their own, further conversations with their partner, further conversations with their mum, their dog, their cat, you know, so everyone can kind of work together to come to a better place. You know, example would be the current situation between Trisha Paytas and Gabby Hanna. I really, really wish that, I understand why, but I really wish that Trisha Paytas would not participate in some of the things that are happening currently, because 99% of it, from my point of view, is projection from Gabby Hanna. Projection, because Trisha is acknowledging a lot of her flaws, a lot of her mental health concerns, a lot of the things that she's going through. And I think that she's doing an incredible job with Moses and working through her trauma and working through everything she's going through, you know, to come out the other side a more resilient and understanding person towards others. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like Gabby's got to stop, Gabby. Love you to death, both of you. I think you're incredible women with incredible talent, but you can see where one is on a different road of their journey currently right now. And I feel like that's what's currently happening with them. And I feel like it's very triggering to Gabby, very triggering to Trisha. And I think Trisha, and I'm sorry if I've just used the wrong pronouns for Trisha. I've recently just found out that she goes by them and they pronouns, and I'm so sorry if I've just used the wrong ones. It's just very, it's very wrong of me, but it's also very just naturally flies off the tongue. No excuse. So I apologize. So I think that they have done a lot of work for themselves. I think Trisha's done a lot of work for herself. And I hope that they stay out of this any further. I understand wanting to put her everything out there and explain herself, because I'm having some redness, but I don't want to layer up too much makeup, because again, I'm not doing anything outrageous today. I'm just literally going to the supermarket. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of this is projection on Gabby's end, and projection, as I've said a million times in this video, is very, very, very common. It is very, very, very common. And it's the same with gaslighting. And I think that might be my next video on, it will be gaslighting. Just fixing me ring light, friends. Because I am not a beauty guru. Oh. Did you miss me? Was I gone long? Did you miss me? Yeah, I'd miss me too. Not really. I just don't like how the redness is on my nose currently. But you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. I'll get used to this makeup stuff soon. I'm gonna buy some new makeup, I think. No one tell my husband. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Where do you think I'm getting the money from? No, I'm kidding again. And if anything, he'd go buy it for me anyway. Okay, that looks crazy, but don't worry, we are blending it out, my friends, blending. Because I blend for a while, that's why I put so much product on, and I hate a sculpted look. Hate a sculpted look, my friends. But yeah, how do we all feel about the topic of projection? Does that feel like it resonates with you at all? I really need to work on this whole lighting shebang, because I feel like, see, I feel like I don't have the best lighting. If only Jose was home. If only Jose was home and he could help me out with this. So I plan on doing a whole bunch of different videos in relation to this, and I will put the article down below that I got this information from, because as much as I want to sit here and just ramble on about everything that I know and think and all that sort of stuff about projection, I also don't want to be ill-informed, and I don't want anyone to feel as though, like, you know, what's this girl going on about? She don't know nothing. Well, that's not true, because I know stuff. I am smart. I am smart. I really love this palette. I'm just doing a blue. Remember when Kim K just did like the smoky eye and the blue, and like everyone vibed it, and now no one does it? I'm like still on that train, because I fucking love it. I think it's so pretty. I don't want anyone to feel as though they have to stay in a relationship or stay in a situation where someone is projecting, and as though they can't leave because they don't mean to project and things like that. Like, I don't want anyone to feel that way. But we do get a lot of people telling us, you know, leave. Someone's feeling and doing a certain way, and some of us don't want to leave. And when I say us, I mean just in general. Some of us don't want to leave because they love their partner and they can kind of see on the other end why they are being a certain way or why they're behaving a certain way, but not really understanding it completely. So if this is something that you're going through and you want to have that sort of discussion with your partner or whoever it might be, and I know I'm putting this towards partners a lot. I don't mean to do that, but it's just another example on, you know, how I can explain it. But if you feel as though you are going through this with your partner and you don't want to leave and you want to work on things further, these are just avenues on how to do that. You know, because not every person that is out here doing things like this are horrible people. You know, it's almost like when people say, oh, narcissistic. You know, I'll be doing a video on that as well, because I just wanted to explain to people that they suffer too. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone suffers. And I feel as though we can't necessarily close the door on some of these people because of the suffering that they do go through. And maybe if they had someone understand them or be there for them or, you know, open their eyes to things, because sometimes people aren't even privy to the idea that they're actually doing this. And that makes me really sad. Makes me really fucking sad, because it's like, oh, everyone should know if they're going through a hard time that someone is there to understand and appreciate. And this is the worst makeup I've ever done. Understand and appreciate, you know, them as a person, and understanding that no matter what you've done, you kind of deserve some help and understanding and support. And I kind of feel as though I'm probably going to just explain this quickly. Trigger warning, major trigger warning here for suicide. My father committed suicide when I was 7 years old. Fucking flies! My father committed suicide when I was 7 years old. I grew up in a household where there was a lot of family domestic violence. There was a lot of drug abuse. There was a lot of questionable behavior from both my mother and father. And in a lot of cases, my father was in the wrong for how he treated us and treated my mother. And I will never say that is not the case, because I know we're not meant to speak ill of the dead. But I do know that my father did do some questionable things within his marriage and with his position as being a father. And not that it's an excuse, and I don't want this to be, this is such a touchy thing for me to even speak on, because I feel as though when you start talking on someone that is abusive, they're completely rid off as a person, okay? Now, you need to leave that situation. Yes, you need to not be with that man. You need to protect yourself and your children from that situation. But once we leave, once we walk out, it is not our responsibility anymore, no. But I feel as though there needs to be more explanation, more care, a lot of things put towards these men. And not all are the same, and I'm not going to sit here and say they're all the same and this is all an excuse, and if I'm riding the wrong fucking wave here, I'm sorry, but I have to speak on it. I don't want anyone to feel as though an abusive man is an excuse They have excuses as to why they are the way they are. There's no fucking excuse good enough. But we have an explanation. And I feel as though courts and things like that and other situations, these men need to get help. They need to go to behavior change programs. They need to understand where this comes from. And they also need to understand that men's mental health is fucking so important. And it needs to stop being put to the side like it's nothing. Like aggression is just how they are. Men are just these big aggressive things. I feel as though what I've learned over my lifetime, and I'm still quite young, but what I've learned over being in, I have been in domestic violence situations. I grew up in one of those situations. I've been in one of those situations. And what I've come out learning is a lot of these situations, these men need help. They need help. And again, you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. But if someone can help them, or they do want help, or they need some fucking eye-opening fucking experience to let them know that, okay, you lost your family, you lost your way because of your own mental health struggles, maybe we can stop some of this from happening. Maybe if we showed more love and understanding to men and young boys and children, even to our daughters, explain that their brothers, their fathers, their boyfriends, their everything, they need to be checked up on with their mental health as well, then maybe we can kind of bridge the gap a little bit into not just, explaining that women that act out are mentally ill. Men that act out are aggressive pieces of shit. And I don't know how people are going to take that. And I'm sorry if I offend anybody. As a survivor myself, both in my childhood and my adult life. Don't stay. Don't stay. Leave. Leave. But men, if men are doing this, or men are making women feel this way, or perpetuating abuse and all these sorts of things, why can't we look at avenues, where it just say child protection is involved? And I wish my mother did this. If child protection is involved, why can't the mothers step forward and say they can't see their children until they do this, 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 and this, including mental health treatment? Because some of this can be explained from mental health, untreated mental health, unresolved trauma, again, projection, gaslighting, aggression, not being able to understand their emotions, feeling as though they're not being, it's not an excuse. Again, I'm saying this 100 times because I don't want no one in my fucking comments saying that I'm enabling abusers, because I'm not. I think about the children in the situation, and the children deserve mothers and fathers. So if the father or the mother, could be either or, is abusive within that household, they need to be separated to protect the children. But these fathers and these mothers need to be educated and treated for these things, because these children deserve both parents. My father grew up in a time where men don't have mental health problems. Don't worry about it. Have another drink, have another pint, do this, do that, blah, 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 to get at your aggression. Go fight down the pub. Go beat your wife. Go do this, go do that. Go have an affair. Instead of sitting down and acknowledging that you have a serious problem, and the way that it's coming out and being shown into the world is not only hurtful for yourself, it's dangerous for others. And I feel as though these children need both their parents. And yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. I really am just rambling at this point, because I don't want anyone to feel as though I'm making any sort of justifications for the ways in which abusers handle these sort of situations, because I'm fucking not. And if you say that I am, then I will be blocking you. And that's not causing, creating an echo chamber. That is letting you know that what you're saying is ridiculous, because I have to keep the same energy. I have to keep the same energy when it comes to mental health, because we've got people, women out here, including myself, that act fucking out and act outrageous. But we get treatment and we get medication and we get understanding. Where is the understanding of people that are doing these things? Separate yourself from these people. You do not need to be in the firing line to make someone feel better. But if there is a way in which you can suggest or help or make sure that these people do get the help that they, quite frankly, obviously fucking need, then do it. And I'm not sure whether that's through divorce court or children's services, or, you know, if your husband, you know, you separate from your husband due to these sorts of toxic relationships and things like that, and your husband says to you, I want you back, you sit there and you say to him, you need to go see a mental health professional and get some help. You need to sort out the roots of your trauma and why you feel as though that it is okay and acceptable to put your hands on me, to project your emotions onto me, to treat me as some sort of way. You need to say these things to them. If you are in harm's way or need to get out of a situation in the safest way possible, please do so. Please do so. But do not ride someone off completely because of these things. And that doesn't mean that you hold their hand through it and help them. That means that if you have to go through courts and go through all these other avenues to make sure that this person stops what they're doing before they hurt someone or hurt themselves, then you should do that. But I have rambled enough for this video. And this part pissing me off. But I have rambled enough for this video. And again, we will come back to the lighting and everything at another time. Because right now, Susan is struggling with the lighting. That is becoming a regular occurrence. But again, this video is not about makeup. Makeup helps, it makes us all feel good and feel pretty and whatever else. But this video is not about that. That's not the main meat and potatoes, as Radiant Brit would say, of this video. So I'm most likely going to go wash all this off and figure out, oh my god, that's why my nose is red, because I didn't put my one of my primers on. If someone was yelling through the screen like, Susan, where's the Satin Rose primer? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But yeah, just want everyone to keep the same energy in every aspect. And I'm sorry if I have offended anyone by what I have said. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience with mental health, my own personal experience within abuse within the household, and yeah, just coming from a real genuine personal space, like from my heart. And that's what I plan to do with this series. I just want everyone to like and subscribe. And remember, keep the same energy.